why this book and why now? It actually starts with a call from one of the ladies who's actually sitting here from the publisher, and she says, Nozi, you've been giving us snippets of your story online, but you haven't really put it together for us. We think you've got a book, as she walks in carrying chairs. We think there's a book for you to write. And I remember just thinking, I don't think there's something for me to write. And I actually almost just leave it. And then the second strand is a fight with my husband. We had a friend over for dinner. And at the dinner table, Rory says, babe, tell him your story. I'm like, what story? He's like, no, tell him your story, story. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I just remember thinking, I'm so confused. So afterwards, we get into this big blown fight. I'm like, hey, Vanna, what is this story that you're asking me to tell? And I could see the look of pure shock that when he realized that I really didn't think I had a story to tell. And that is, I think, due to two things. The one is that when you've survived so many things, you normalize survival. And you kind of start believing that everybody must be going through the same. And you don't realize that therein is a very unique experience. So that's the first reason. And that's sort of like the first push that Rory really sets in my mind to say, I can't believe you don't see it. And I think the second one is that professionally, my life has been about being a platform for people to have the conversations that they need to have with the world. It's about being a conduit. I have been very disciplined about being a story listener and not a storyteller, so that people can story tell. And so when I when we did the post-mortem of the fight, and I realized that he was right, I called Sibongile back hesitantly and said, I think it's time. And I'm going to share this one snippet. The book that I was invited to write was not the book that came out. I was invited to write a book about all the amazing conversations that I've had in the world and some of the big lessons there. And as I tried to write, it was almost as if God was saying, that's not the story you need to be telling. And it just wouldn't come out. And I remember calling Sibongile frantically. I'm like, it's not coming. And she said, just write whatever's coming out now and we'll figure it out later. And my story poured out of me. And it poured out of me at a very difficult stage of a couple of things that I was going through at the time. For those who've read the book, I'm going to try not spoil it too much for those who haven't. And then, actually realizing in that moment that actually this is the story that forces me to come out from the shadow and actually tell my own story and own it with its highs and its lows. Because it's not a beautiful story. It's a messy story, but I think it's an important story.
I'm interested in the who. Is this book for the golden girls? Is this book for someone going through loss, trying to find them? Who did you have in mind when you wrote this book?
I wrote this book for everyone because at the essence and the core of the book, it is about my personal confrontation of realizing that the thing that had saved my life, literally saved my life, that has allowed me to have breath in my body today, was the thing that was also threatening to keep me from thriving.
With you.
And I think a lot of us carry certain behaviors as crutches because those behaviors have served us and gotten us to a particular point. And it's only in a moment where you are open enough to hear the personal provocation and the invitation to be different, that this story and this book starts to make sense, because I gave up the thing that served me the most to realize that on the other side of it is the opportunity to thrive, to show up differently, to actually believe that other people can be safety nets to me, that I don't have to be my own scaffolding at all times, that I can actually build trust with others, that actually I can be fully embraced in a community, because all of those things don't exist when you believe that you are the only one who can get things done.